Dave, hey, it's time to fix the gap on my model railroad here. Coming up next, Pete's Pretty Good Trains. The reason there's a gap here is that the basement's a lookout basement, so only part of it is actually below the grade here. And when we finished it here, the building code said you couldn't have the wall studs right up against the foundation wall. They actually had to be out a few inches. So that created, I think it's a 7 or 8 inch ledge back there. And with the way the layout is situated with the legs up against the trim, I get about a 10-inch gap here in between the layout and the wall. When I was doing the design for the layout here, the whole idea was that it was going to be pushed up into a corner here, so both these sides would be flush up against the wall. So it actually worked out pretty good that I got the ledge there, because this is only like a foot deep. So how am I going to fix this? Some cardboard boxes and some leftover foam that I was going to use for the second half of the layout. Since I'm going to be doing that at 2 feet wide, I'm going to have to get some new foam anyway, so we'll reuse the old stuff here. First part of the project here was grabbing the Vikings knee pad and going out and cutting up some foam. So I didn't have any 8-foot sections, but I did have a few 4-foot sections. And my idea was I was going to make a sandwich of like 2 4-foot ones side to side, and then another 4-foot one in the middle, on the middle layer, and cut up this piece here into 2-foot pieces to have on the ends. And then the top layer is going to be 2 more of the 4-foot long sections. Okay, well, I was doing this out in the driveway here because I didn't want to be cutting up foam down here in the basement on the new flooring, and because I was cutting through it. Okay, so I was using a box cutter to actually score the foam here before making the cut, and so that's why I'm doing it out in the driveway. I didn't want to do it here in the train room and cut up the new flooring down here. Once the pieces were cut, I brought them back down here to the basement and started gluing them together. So I put down a couple other pieces of foam to protect the floor. Yeah, you don't want to see my butt crack. Hopefully my butt crack is not showing here. Nope, we are butt crack free, people. This is good. This is good. So I was using the Woodland Scenics Foam Tack glue and started spraying that out. I ended up fighting with the glue bottle here a bit because it's been a while since I'd used it. So the tip was just completely full of dried up glue. Had to take that apart and clean it out. Here I am getting the rest of the glue put into place here, so I'm going to get the last couple pieces put into place here. Key thing I learned on doing this one was put the unprinted side of the foam facing up. So on the rest of the layout here that I built so far, I had the part with like the Pink Panther facing up there, and that's really hard to paint over. You can paint over, but it takes a few coats and you'll still see the printing and text on the foam showing through the paint there. So on this one, I wanted to make sure that I grabbed the side without the printing and put the printing side facing down. Yep. Find a good edge here on that one. Put into place. Man, so much danger of butt crack showing there. It's not even funny. And once I got into place, I'm going to take my 12 packs of soda there, use that to weigh everything down. I was using Coke products here, but you can also use Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. You can probably even use beer, water, or any other heavy object for that matter. Just need some weight to keep everything kind of compressed together. I came back in a couple days later after the glue dried to start measuring it for cutting to get the correct depth on this thing. My pieces were a foot deep. My gap's only about 9.5 inches deep, so there was going to be some cutting here along the length of the whole assembled piece. I started doing some measuring, and then for the first go at cutting, I was going to try using a serrated steak knife, a cheap one. Don't worry, honey. Didn't grab one of the good ones from the drawer. Started using the serrated steak knife, and that was going way too slow. So to speed up the work of cutting the foam here, I brought back a good friend of the channel, the Oscillating Multi-Tool. This thing will chop through all sorts of stuff, not very fast at times depending on the material, but it made pretty quick work of the foam here. So let's get started and get to work on this. And of course, after all that cutting, it didn't fit. I was kind of hoping it would fit on the first try, but I know I cut it a little bit oversized here, so we're gonna have to come up with a plan B for getting this thing chopped back down to size to fit into the layout here. All right, welcome to Plan C. This is the one that actually worked here. I went on Amazon and ordered up a hot wire foam cutter, and this thing is a lot of fun. I took the foam outside here because I knew these things would kick off some fumes, and when I was doing this, it was a really hot day. I didn't want to be opening up any windows in the house here to get fumes out, so I packed up everything and brought it out to the driveway. And you do need good ventilation with this thing, so you're basically burning a very thin little hole in the foam as you're doing this, and it does put off some smoke, and I was smelling some stuff when I was doing that, so I did not want to take any chances of having that cooking off inside there. So it's pretty simple, little piece of wire and a handle. You plug it in, it heats up, gets really hot with that bow attachment. It heats up in about 2 or 3 seconds, and you can get to work right away with that thing. So after a little bit of lunch, I brought the foam back down to the layout room here and put it into place. I had to do a little bit of trimming on the layout with the steak knife to get everything to fit, but once it did, it got in there pretty snug. There are a couple issues, of course. First one being there's a gap between the 2 panels on the extension, so right now I have a little bit of foam put into place there to fill that gap, and I think I can get the rest with some scenery material. Also, there's a gap between the extension and the layout itself. Again, get that with the scenery material. And also the extension down by the culver's end here sits just a little bit higher than the rest of the layout. So again, I think I can fill that with a little bit of scenery material, and also that I'm going to be putting the culver's there on a ridge. So 2 pieces of foam work out to be about 7 feet in HO scale. And so the covers will be up on the ridge. The customers can sit there and enjoy their delicious frozen custard while doing some train watching. I think this is going to be kind of a key scene on the layout here because I want to rail fan my layout. I can do some operations on it, but really my big thing is I like watching the trains run. So my interactions with railroading have always been more from the rail fan perspective, so layout's going to be kind of a rail fan friendly layout. Next up for the project here is going to be getting the extension pieces painted brown and then start doing some other scenery material on them. I also have to get the kind of final shape for the ridge that the culver's is going to be sitting on, and then get a road built up to that. So lots more to come. All right, I'm out here. See you guys. Oh, and don't forget, do the usual YouTube stuff there. So click on the like and subscribe and leave a comment. I guess that really makes the algorithm happy. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.